Okay, guys, now let's talk about the causes of no, we just did that one. Nope. Okay, guys, now let's talk about the symptoms of sexual shame, how it shows up within our bodies, within our minds, within our day-to-day experiences. Shame is pervasive. It's a little bitch. I told one of my clients this a couple years ago. We're talking about shame, particularly as it pertains to us as gay men, and we both have similar backgrounds of growing up on a farm in the Midwest, and so we were talking about how that impacted us and our self-expression over time and our comfort, our safety in being gay. And as we were talking, I just said I was just like, shame's just the best way to describe is shame's just a bitch. And he loved it, and so he wrote a little post-it note. And so let me do the same because shame is exactly that. It is a little bitch. Bam. You see it? Shame is a bitch. Bam. Okay. But shame sucks. It's just not a fun feeling. Dr. Brene Brown talks about it as it's a master emotion. It's a nasty little combination of very big emotions. Shame is loneliness, depression, sadness, anxiety, all wrapped into one. And we're feeling that all at the exact same time. And while shame can be quite presentable, where we can recognize it, it can also hide underneath the surface in areas that we don't really recognize or we don't really see how it is impacting us. So let's unpack all of those areas now so we can start to lay this out on the table for ourselves to see how shame shows up for us. Because once we see it, we get to then take the power back. So let's do that. One very common way that shame shows up is within our negative self talk. So if you notice that you are really negative to yourself up here, where you say a lot of unhelpful messages to yourself over and over and over again, kind of beating up on yourself, shitting on yourself, crapping on yourself, then that's shame talking. And believe me, you are not alone in this. I am typically like this all day long. Thank the heavens, due to some affirmational work that I've been doing the past several years. It's finally working, and I'm starting to get better at noticing that negative self talk, replacing it with some more helpful messages. And I'll teach you how to do that same thing, but I will also write a note to include under here affirmations that will be helpful for you in replacing that negative self talk. Bam. Okay. So, what does negative self talk sound like? Well, it can sound like messages of, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not sexy enough. I'm not hot enough. My dick isn't big enough. My ass isn't big enough. I come too fast. I can't come at all. I can't stay hard enough. I'm too hard. I'll never find somebody who loves me exactly as I am. I'm too much. I share too much. I post too much. I'm too gay. I'm not gay enough. Negative self talk is any message that we are sending to ourselves that limits us, that puts pressure on us, that puts us down. Think of it as if you were talking to a friend. Would you say half of the shit that you say to yourself to a friend? Probably not. And if, as you were scrolling through your thoughts, if you go through that experiment of, okay, let me pull this thought out. What if I said this thought to a friend? And if that makes you go, oh shit, that I wouldn't do that, then that's negative self-talk. So don't do that to yourself. The next way that sexual shame can show up within ourselves is with avoidance of sexuality, avoidance of intimacy, avoidance of any sexual experiences. This may include emotional avoidance, where we're keeping people at a distance. We're too afraid to let people in because we don't want to get hurt. This can also include physical avoidance, like going out of our way to steer clear of intimate experiences, to steer clear of sex, even when it's something that we actually want. And even the fear of rejection. So not letting ourselves go on dates or go on hookup apps or ask for the type of sex that we want with the people that we want to be having sex with because we're too afraid of them saying no, or we're too afraid of letting ourselves be fully seen. Sexual shame can also come out as hypersexuality, so the exact opposite of avoidance. This often looks like using sex as a form of validation, where we're engaging in sexual activity not for pleasure, not for connection, not for joy, but in order to feel worthy enough, valid. Hypersexuality can also be an escape from shame. So this is where shame gets to be really nuanced because we can utilize something that is appearing to help us let go of shame, but it is actually shame-based. Tricky, and again, this is why shame's a bitch. Sexual shame can also show up as body image issues, and this is huge for gay men. I venture to say that each and every one of us has some form of body image challenges because of who we are. I venture to say that every single one of us has some form of body image challenges as a result of being gay in a hypersexualized community. So we know that we're challenged by body image issues when we think any of the following: when we feel inadequate compared to typical body standards for the gay community, when we use a lot of negative self-talk to reference our body and our appearance and how we look, when we compare ourselves to other people all the time, when we avoid mirrors, photos, or situations where our bodies might be exposed, and when we associate our body with pain and rejection as opposed to empowerment and pleasure. Sexual shame can also show up as perfection within relationships, where we feel the need to create a perfect relationship, one that is visible from the outside as, ooh, that's lovely. If you want a telltale sign that somebody is challenged by shame, look at their outward appearance. Little tip for you. And this also might be reading some of you to fill. And if so, I'm so sorry. I don't write the rules, I just communicate and help you through it. Perfectionism and shame are siblings. Brene Brown, again, is the shame master, and she talks about perfectionism rides shotgun in shame's car. Because when we feel shame, it's that feeling of I'm not enough. So it naturally leads us to wanting to outdo, outperform in order to prove that we are enough. What we know about this is that we know that this is an endless cycle. And if we don't catch it, this will go on and on. It's like it's like a horse with a carrot dangling in front of it, you know that. And so if we find for ourselves that we're seeking perfectionism within relationships, or if we are currently within a relationship and we are always striving to be perfect, not only within the operation of that relationship, but with how our relationship appears to other people, shame is in there somewhere. So again, this could look like constantly trying to prove your worth to partners, overthinking your actions, your words, your appearance, and feeling like love must be something that you earn as opposed to something that's just really given to you because you deserve it. Sexual shame can also show up as guilt and anxiety around sexual actions. This was a huge one for me, and sometimes it still is. And I know for a lot of you that this is similar. And for a lot of clients that I work together with, this is one of the leading ones for them. So this often looks like feeling guilty over the sexual interest that we have, guilt about wanting to explore certain fantasies or certain kinks, anxiety about discussing our sexual needs with a partner or with somebody that we're going to hook up with, and an overall sense of wrongness about our sexual preferences. Now, also, NSFW alert, this can show up as like a flood of shame thoughts when we come. This was a huge one for me in high school and in early adulthood when I would jack off. And then as soon as I would ejaculate, like I would just have this flood of not only negative self-talk, but just like self-hatred, these thoughts of I'm going to hell because I just did that. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Um, I'm a terrible person. I'm bringing shame to my family. Uh, I am sinning in the eyes of the Lord. I'm going to hell, stuff like that. Like those would be the thoughts that I would have, like the millisecond when I ejaculated. That is a telltale sign that shame is driving the boat. The beautiful thing is that all of this can be rewritten, and we can work through this one by one step at a time. But before we get there, a couple more ways that shame shows up. So this also shows up as difficulty setting boundaries, where sexual shame can make it hard for us to advocate for our needs. So this can lead us to agreeing to participate within sexual situations that we don't want to or that we don't feel safe within. I did this all the time and led to some very not good situations. This can also look like us struggling to communicate our wants and our desires to partners and our limits as well. And this can lead us to feeling unheard and resentful within relationships. Sexual shame can also show up as overcompensation in other areas. So because we might be too afraid to take a look at our sexual shame, or we don't know how, or we don't have the tools to work through it, we then make up for it in somewhere else. Gays are, as a whole, our gay community is known for this, where we focus on looking perfect, we focus on having the best jobs, we focus on promotions, we focus on high achievement, we focus on high levels of success. And while all of these things are not bad as a whole, these are great. These are great goals. These are great things to work toward, especially if it leads us to the life that we have in mind and that we want, that we desire. But it's more so the root of where this is coming from and the energy at which this is stemming from. And so if we are striving for all of these things purely because it makes us happy, it's what we want, it leads us to the life that we're looking for, great. However, if we're striving for these things in order to make up for the fact that we are gay, or because of our sexual interests, or because of who we are, or in order to correct a fault that we feel we have within ourselves, then we want to take a look at that, because that means shame is also driving the boat there too. Two more. Sexual shame can also show up as feelings of isolation. Sexual shame can also show up as feelings of isolation, where it can lead to this feeling of otherness within ourselves. And so we might feel that we don't belong within a community, even within the LGBTQIA plus community itself. We may also struggle to find friends or partners or family members who really understand and can see us, and where we withdraw from social situations as a result of fear of rejection and fear of judgment. And lastly, sexual shame can show up as mental health struggles. So over time, if we don't address our sexual shame, this can lead to things like anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, where you might notice persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness, difficulty finding joy and pleasure in life, and feeling stuck in cycles of self-criticism. And so if any of this resonates with you, if any of this sounds like you, first thing I want you to know is that you are not alone. Each and every single one of us has some form of sexual shame. Now, it's going to vary on impact on us, and it's going to vary on the intensity that it has over our lives. But nonetheless, each and every single one of us has some form of sexual shame, because at minimum, we all exist within a society that has told us for our whole life that something is wrong with us. But the beautiful thing is that when we begin to recognize this, we then also start the healing process. And again, it is that a process. When we begin to become aware of shame and the impact that it has on us, we can then start to challenge it. So we can ask ourselves, is this shame-based belief helping me, or is it holding me back? And odds are it's holding you back. And when we recognize that a shame-based belief is holding us back, we then get to ask ourselves, do I want to continue this belief? And most of the time, and it'll likely be, no, I don't want to continue this belief. Now, you are in charge of your beliefs 100% of the time. Nobody else gets to decide that for yourself, but you can. And absolutely, beliefs can be rewritten, restructured, reorganized. And this is where the healing comes into play. So you can start the healing process today. And it looks like this. It looks like saying, I now believe that there is nothing wrong with me. I now believe that I am allowed to be a sexual person. I now believe that it is okay for me to be gay. I now believe that it is okay for me to be queer in whatever capacity aligns with me in this moment. I now believe that there is nothing wrong with me, and there never was. And any other belief that aligns with you. When we identify these new beliefs, these new respectful, helpful, empowering beliefs, we repeat them to ourselves over and over and over again. Literally, like hundreds of thousands of times. And when we do that, we are rewiring the patterns in our brain. And step by step, piece by piece, we are healing all of those old messages and opening up the door to all of our future potential. Now we can pound these beliefs into the ground even further by two things: by celebrating self-compassion and by engaging in safe exploration. So here with the self-compassion piece, we want to start talking to ourselves like our own best friend. So be nice to yourself. Daddy Kevin's going to come over there and smack you across the face if you're mean to yourself anymore. We're going to start being nice to ourselves today, right now. So the next time you say, fuck, I screwed up, imagine me giving you a little smack on the face saying, no, 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 no. We instead say, ooh, this is a learning opportunity. How can I learn from this? Or I found a new way to not do this. Beautiful. Or the next time that we say, I'm not pretty enough. Nope, nope, nope. Take that back. Instead, we say, I'm pretty fucking hot. And all types of bodies are beautiful. Every body type holds beauty, mine included. And my worth doesn't depend on what I look like. I am inherently worthy because I'm human and because I'm here. And I might not be attracted to my body type, but somebody out there is. And even more so, the people out there are going to be attracted to my energy. And so let me cultivate this energy that I want to bring, because that's the magnet that leads people to me. So remember, no more negative self-talk. I'm going to come through the screen and give you a little love tap. Unless you're into that, then hey, we can do that too. And then we want to engage in safe exploration. So we want to practice these beliefs out. So masturbate when you feel safe to do so and have fun with it. Embody the feeling of pleasure. Have sex with partners that you want to have sex with, that are safe for you, that respect you, and that you have fun with. Partners that allow messes to happen. Partners that view sex in a similar way that you do. Partners that also focus on pleasure instead of performance. Partners that can communicate their boundaries, their wants, and their limits, and can respect those for you too. So There was a lot here, but I hope this was a helpful exploration in exploring shame even further and starting to work through it. Check out the goodies below. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. God. So proud.